know what? I made my first 100,000. I made my first 500,000. I made my first, and then you're like, all right, how much more can I get to? Can I get to 2 million? Can I get to 4? And amounts of money.
So walk me through the mindset of someone that goes from 1 million to 10 million to 100 million. Is there a change in mindset? Welcome to The Takeover, where we uncover the underbelly of business, its cutthroat nature, and most importantly, how to use strategic acquisitions as well as partnerships to scale and build an empire. My name is Christina, and I absolutely love business. And I'm so excited to bring to you today this remarkable person who not only started his first business at 15 years old selling trading cards, but let me tell you, he is by far one of the most talented individuals that I know who has not only acquired businesses, but also bought and sold property. So today, help me in welcoming our guest, Abraham Gray.
Hey, what's happening?
How's it going today?
Going awesome. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I'm so happy that you're here today. It has been, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years we've known each other longer than 3 or 4 years.
We've known each other a long time, since the escape room trapped in, back in when it was...
Yeah, trapped in a room with a zombie. I remember Abraham came to my business. I had just taken it over from another individual. And he came and he experienced it, and I think you liked it. It was kind of a little bit bootleg, but...
Yeah, no, I liked it. It was different because, obviously I had escape rooms as well, but this was a totally different experience. It was totally different. And, I'm friends with Marty. That's how we met.
Yeah.
I came with a bunch of people, and we went through it. We're like, man, this is definitely unique.
I have to tell you guys, so it's called Trapped in a Room with a Zombie. This is my first business. It was called Trapped in a Room with a Zombie, and literally a zombie would chase you around the room until you found all the clues to escape. So it was a fun and very unique experience. But tell me about tell me about your first business and how you really got the mindset to get started in business.
Yeah, so basically, I started with trading cards, like you said, sports cards, and I collected them my whole life when I was little, and I just naturally turned it into a business. So when I was 15, I started buying and selling them at the same time, and I saw there was a big market for it. So I just got more and more into it, and as I got better, I just did more and more volume. And when I was 15, I was making around close to $1,000 a week just selling sports cards.
Wow.
And this is back in 1990. So that was a lot more money, 1,000, than it is now even.
Wow. So take me into a 15-year-old mind. Where were you mentally and how were you as a kid?
Yeah, I was a strange kid. So I literally didn't really grow up with my parents. And when I was probably 11, 12, I started going into different foster families, and I just went from one to another to another. Then I ended up going to a boarding school, stayed there for a year and a half, left there, went to a few more foster families, and then eventually I ended up in Atlanta because my grandmother lived here. So I moved in with my grandmother when I was 15, and that's kind of when I was like, you know what? I always had to listen to everybody my whole life. I live with different people. Some of them were good, some were a pain in the ass. And I was like, I don't want to have to listen to anybody. I want to be able to do my own thing. Once I started making money, I was able to have more freedom, and I was able to do my own stuff, and it just got addictive. So I started making a little bit of money. I was like, you know what? Now I could buy my own food. I could buy my own stuff. And then as I made more and more money, I was able to get my own car. I was able to just go out and do whatever I wanted because I had the money to be able to do it.
Wow. So you were making $1,000 a week selling trading cards.
Yeah.
Now let's fast forward all the way to present day. You are I'm not trying to put your net worth out there, but you're a multimillionaire, and you have been able to scale and grow businesses. How do you feel like that gap, how you were able to bridge the gap there? Tell me someone that was able to help you recognize that this is not the way to go. You should go this way.
Yeah. So not many people know a whole lot about my childhood because I talk about my life with a lot of people. starting more when I was like 15. So like people don't know me before then. But even when I was 15, people don't realize I was a really bad kid. I literally was getting kicked out of every single school I was in. Like I got expelled. I would get suspended all the time, mainly for just being a class clown. Like I would just talk over the teachers. I would just make fun of different people, stuff like that. So, I just wanted all the attention. And so I was just always in trouble. And then, that was when I was younger. And as I got older, when you get in trouble, you do more stupider stuff. So I can't say all of the crazy things I did, but basically I got, I was hanging around a couple different crowds. One that when I was selling sports cards and I was doing these shows, which were, positive people that were bettering their lives. And then I would hang out with some other types of people that weren't as good. And, at one point, like I could have either, been dead or in jail at this point in my life, or I could have just been super successful. And at that point, nobody knew which way I was going to go. So I had a few talks with some people that I was close to. I actually, when I was in boarding school, I had therapy class. So I would go and so I had a therapist, and I would talk to him, and we became really good friends. And he was like, look, let me tell you about different people in life and what's happened. And, where do you want to be in life? Do you want to be like a loser? Do you want to be in jail? Do you want to be, dead?
So wait, there was therapy class back in the 80s?
Yeah. So I was in a boarding school that was like for kids that didn't behave. And they had a class that was like every single day. It was an hour, and you had like a group therapy.
Wow.
And they
Shout out to therapy. Let me tell you, it just changed your life.
But the thing that really did good was, I don't know that those therapy classes really did much because I kind of whatever, but I had the one-on-ones, and I became friend with my therapist. And actually he was one of my foster parents for like 6-8 months. Like when I first left that boarding school, I lived with him for a little while until I ended up moving. But so we had a lot of long talks, and we became friendly, and somehow he liked me more than most people, and I guess he saw potential or whatever. And I was always a good kid. Like you could tell, like I meant well, or like I had that positive vibe. I'm a friendly person, but you could go either way when you're young. So I guess he saw that in me, and we had talks. We'd go out. He'd take me out at night. And I remember just going to like an ice cream store with him and him talking to me. I remember going to different like ball games and him talking to me and be like, look, you got to decide what you want in your life. And we had some serious talks, and that helped me push me to the positive direction. And then once I started selling sports cards, I set up at these baseball card shows every single weekend, and I became friendly with some of the other vendors. And keep in mind, I was like 16 at this point because I was able to drive, or I actually was 15 in the beginning, but when I really started doing it bigger, I was 16. And everybody around me was in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Yeah. So I saw the people that were doing really, really well, that were making the most money, and I became really friendly with them because that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be those people. And I went out with them 16, 17, 18 years old with 30-some-year-old people that were more experienced, and, I learned a lot from them. They kind of guided me. They showed me, the way that I should do it. So, that's how I learned, just being around more positive, successful people than myself that I want to be like.
Now that right there is a nugget that even at a young age, you were able to see hanging around the right people and people that you want to be, help you to achieve and learn to be better.
Oh, 100%. That's one of the most important things in life. If you hang around bad people, you're going to end up being bad. If you hang around good people, you're going to end up being good. It's just like, you always end up being like the people you're around, no matter what, So it's really important to make sure that you're in the right crowd.
For sure. So when did you, after the trading card business, when did you start to scale into or change into more of, I guess,
other businesses?
Yeah, other businesses.
Yeah. So I was in sports cards. So this is the way it transitioned. I did that for many, many years, and I was making $1,000 a week when I was 15, and $2,000 a week when I was 16, and $3,000. So by the time I was 19 years old, I saved $1 million in my bank account. Like I had $1 million saved in my bank account.
Can you say that one more time, please?
By the time I was 19 years old, and this was like in the early 90s, 1994 or something like that. I had like $1 million in my account because I remember like taking a picture. I was like, oh man, I have $1 million in my account. That's pretty cool. And I was out of high school, And I actually went to college for 1 year, total waste of time. But, you know, everyone's like back then, oh, you need to go to college, you need to go to college.
Yeah.
So I went to
the American dream.
Yeah. So I went to community college for a year, and I realized I was making way more money than the people teaching me. And, you know, I went there to learn business, and like the business they were teaching, I asked them, okay, so what businesses have you done? Show me, you know, how well you've done. I'm thinking like the teachers have made a ton of money. They're going to teach you from experience.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, you know, they haven't done anything. So I just kind of dropped out. And it just, but, you know, it was cool to go there because I could see, you know, that it was a waste of time for most people. But, you always learn from those experiences. So I was doing baseball cards, and back in 1997 is when I changed from baseball cards to my next thing. So in 1997, I was like 22, and Beanie Babies became really popular.
I remember the Beanie Babies.
Yeah. So I used to set up at baseball card shows like every weekend. That was my job. And all of a sudden I saw like in 1997, like these middle-aged women set up with a whole bunch of stuffed animals. I'm like, what in the world are they doing at these baseball card shows? And I was making fun of them. I was like, that's stupid. You know, these are baseball card shows. And then all of a sudden, over the next like couple months, I was like, holy crap, they have like a ton of people in front of their booths, way more than anyone that's selling baseball cards. So I'm like, well, wait a second. So I started hanging out there. I'm like, why is everyone here? What are you selling? How are you making money on this? And I started learning how they used to get it. And before you knew it, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of money in that. And I switched to selling Beanie Babies and baseball cards. So there was about a year I was selling baseball cards and Beanie Babies. And then I got really good at Beanie Babies. Like I figured out how to get them, the best quantity, the, you know, cheapest price.
And where were you buying them from?
So at the time, the only place you could get them are stores that actually sold them. So I went to like Hallmark stores, flower stores, little gift stores. Ty Warner only sold them to like small mom and pops. And they were super limited. So I would have a list of every single store that carried them, and I'd call them every morning. Did you get your shipment? And did you get your shipment? Because they were sold out right away.
Yeah.
Now, I would pay retail. The retail was $5, $6. But every single Beanie Baby back in 1997 was worth 10 to 20 bucks. So you could buy them for $5, $6 and double your money. Or more if you got good ones, because there's different ones. So that's what we did. And I just became a hustler getting Beanie Babies. And eventually I just sold all my baseball cards. I'm like, I'm done with baseball cards. I went to Beanie Babies. So I made my first $1 million in baseball cards, but then I made my first $10 million in Beanie Babies. So,
wow.
Yeah, I got to where from 1997 all the way through like 2003, I sold Beanie Babies, and I was one of the biggest Beanie Baby dealers.
And that's how you met Howard, right?
That's how I met Howard.
Okay.
I met Howard through Beanie Babies.
I heard the Howard story. Howard is a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And we all do the same stuff. We all got into escape rooms. We all got into axe throwing. We all got into all these cool different things.
Unique things that people don't like. You have to ride the wave. You know, you have to be the first mover in the industry in order to really make it out big.
Yeah, and we were all in the same circle. So like anytime Howard found something really good and hot, and he did good with it, he would tell me, and then I would do it. Anytime I did something that was really hot and good, then, you know, I'd tell him and he would do it. And those are the types of circles you need. So I have like about 5-6 people like that, and we all share like our best, you know, stuff, and then we just basically help each other do it, and then we do it all over the country. So that's how we grow, you know, in all these different businesses.
So how did you create that kind of crew?
So it started with just me doing business with Howard, right? Or all these other people, and I would just do business with them, and then eventually it turned from doing business to like, let's do some stuff together. And you know what? You found some really cool stuff that you're making a lot of money on. I found some really cool stuff I'm making a lot of money on. Let's just like share, instead of being like competitors, let's collaborate and help each other, and then we could both make more money. And that's how it was. So we got into all kinds of other businesses with Howard in particularly, but you know, gold business. So the gold business was one of the businesses after Beanie Babies. I had a few in between, but that was the business that I made $100 million on profit.
Wow.
So yeah, so I went from like different business, and you could see like from the beginning through today how you know, I got from one business to another. A lot of it just kind of worked, you know, from baseball cards to Beanie Babies, because they kind of were both collectibles, and then all of a sudden and then from Beanie Babies to, I actually sold a lot of Webkins. If you remember Webkins, it's another stuffed animal that was very, very hot, just like Beanie Babies. And Beanie Babies died at some point, and then Webkins became really hot a couple years later. And I got into that, but I already had all the same connections from Beanie Babies, so it was really easy, and I made crazy amount of money.
So walk me through the mindset of someone that goes from 1 million to 10 million to 100 million. Is there a change in mindset? Do you have to look at things differently?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like when you first start, you don't expect to make any amount of money, any particular amount of money. You're just doing it because you're making money. It's fun. By the way, it's fun because you're making money. Like, I don't think it's super fun if you're not making money, but it becomes really fun. The more money you make, the funner it gets. And you just like, you know what? I made my first 100,000. I made my first 500,000. I made my first, and then you're like, all right, how much more can I get to? Can I get to 2 million? Can I get to 4? And it's
so
just
it becomes a game.
It becomes
almost.
a game. It becomes a game, and then you have to figure out ways to grow it. Like, all right, this is how I was able to make $1 million. Is there a way to add more people, more help, add more product, add more, and to get further faster? And a lot of it I learned on my own in my teenage years and in my early 20s. But then, I became partners with a lot of different people, and we were all good at different things. So we were all able to help each other and grow exponentially, at some point then.
So what type of businesses do you acquire right now?
So now I acquire all kinds of businesses. I was mainly into buying and selling product in my teens and my 20s.
Yeah.
But literally, as you know, now we have tons of entertainment. I have lots of entertainment concepts all over the country.
Like, give me an examples of some.
So we have a lot of escape rooms. We have a lot of axe throwing. We have a lot of arts and crafts studios. I have some putt-putt places. I have lots of gyms.
So is it that you love that type of business, or you love to do those types of things, and that's why you decided to choose those?
I really liked entertainment. It's just fun. But honestly, my favorite business is always the one that makes the most money. So like, if I could make a lot of money in it, that's fun. Yeah, that's my favorite.
So what's your favorite business?
My favorite business right now, I mean, I have so many businesses that make a lot of money, but the last few years, I've probably made more money in real estate than anything. So, real estate's the funnest right now, but that changes. Real estate's kind of on a downtick right now. So, I love the axe throwing. I love the gyms. They all bring in a lot of money every single month. So, but entertainment is fun. If you have to pick everything, I mean, entertainment's just fun. Because you could, like, when I have friends come in town or I want to do big meetups or whatever, I just like, all right, let's go to one of my places. And we have meetups at all my different entertainment places. And so that's kind of cool.
So let me run your stats down. Okay, so you have had over hundreds of businesses.
Yeah.
You flipped and owned over 1,000 properties.
Yeah.
Presently, you have roughly 40 businesses and probably around 250 or more properties, rental properties.
Yeah.
How do you manage all that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, I am not good at most stuff. So I can't manage any of this stuff if I didn't have help. So almost every business I have, 95+% of my businesses, I have partners. Okay. And we're good at different things, right? So I'm more of the creative guy. I'm the one that like finds the businesses. I'm really good at negotiating, talking with people, structuring the deals, and I buy them. And I'm good at comping properties. I'm good at figuring out.
And then finding operators that can basically run it for you.
Yeah. So one of my partners is really good at operations, but he sucks at the creative part. So he kind of runs the businesses, and he doesn't necessarily work in any of the businesses day to day, but he has like managers that are in the businesses, and he kind of is the one that talks to them and kind of manages them. And then I have a third partner that is kind of handles, some like the accounting, the legal, the paperwork stuff, and some of like selling different, businesses or real estate, whatever I'm trying to do. And it's all different skill sets. And each one of my partners are really good at what they do, and they really aren't good at the other stuff. Like, I am not good at that other stuff, mainly because I just don't enjoy it. Yeah. Like, whatever you enjoy, you typically get good at. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be that good at it because it's just not fun.
Yeah.
So I try to do only what I enjoy doing these days, because I work because it's fun. Not because
why do anything else?
Yeah, why do anything? Like, if I didn't work, I wasn't making more money, I wasn't progressing, I would just feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like, not that I need the money, but like, you have to feel good about yourself, like you're progressing and you're accomplishing something, or else like you just don't have good self-esteem. So
yeah, I mean, and you're also really interested in imparting your knowledge and sharing your knowledge with other people, like you do public speaking engagements. Actually, there was one lady who I think you're about to go on her show, I think next week or in
Yeah.
a couple days that I met over the weekend, and I was like, oh my God, I'm speaking to him tomorrow.
Yeah, I do a lot of. I do a lot of.
Kalisha or something like that.
Oh, I did it yesterday.
Oh, you did it yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was on her podcast yesterday. Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah.
So we're in a bunch of groups together. So besides the fact that I teach people a lot of stuff and I have my own stuff that I do, I join and buy lots of mentorships, and anything that I'm interested in learning and getting better at, I buy. So
you're still learning.
Always learning. I mean, there's
sure.
No matter how smart somebody is, there's a million things they don't know.
Definitely.
And even if you're really, really good at something, you can always become better. Like no one's the best at anything. Like you could always become better. So I mean, you take one little thing, you could just exponentially, make more money or free up time or whatever it is. But
yeah, you have the courses that you teach. You have one coming up at the end of June.
Yeah.
So listen, y'all, if you want to be able to learn from someone who is killing it in the game right now, please sign on. And where do they go to sign up for that?
Yeah, so I posted on my Facebook. I posted on my Instagram. I have my YouTube channel I just started 10 months ago. So
What's the
I've
YouTube
blown
channel?
that up. It's my name, Abraham Gray, Gray.
Okay.
And my YouTube is probably one of the things I've been working on the most. 'Cause I just told you I just set up a studio, and I'm filming multiple videos every single week that I'm posting. And most of my videos are just teaching people how to do real estate, how to do business, just different stories, how to build rapport, how to negotiate, anything to better your life. And I have a lot of funny stuff. It's not super serious. It's funny so people will watch it.
Nice.
But I have 16,000 subscribers now in 10 months. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My goal is to hit 100,000. I was trying to hit that by the end of the year, but it's going to be really hard.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of switch gears really quick. I want to talk a little bit about how business has been on the other side. And when I say the other side is things that probably haven't gone as good for you in this whole process.
Yeah.
Could you give me an example of, one of the most darkest or hardest experiences that you went through as an entrepreneur and how you were able to overcome it?
So that's really cool because, as you know, I have tons of businesses now. I've had tons of businesses. What people don't see is all the businesses that went to shit.
Exactly. And that's the reason why I want to talk about this, because they just don't see that side.
So I've had lots of businesses that went bad. The key is, we'll talk about some of them, but the key is to know that, look, this business is bad. Cut your losses now. Don't keep doing it and losing money. So I have a lot of friends that are just stubborn. They'll have a business that's not doing good and they'll just keep it going for years and lose all the money and every bit of their savings and everything. So you got to know when to cut it. Okay.
So how do you know when to cut it? But before you go into how do you know when to cut it, tell me some businesses that didn't work.
So I would say one of the ones that was one of the biggest when I was younger, this is in my mid-20s, I started haunted houses. And I started a haunted house and I lost a few $100,000 on it. And this, I was in my mid-early 20s, so that's a lot of money. And the problem was I didn't do enough due diligence. I didn't do enough research on it. And I started it from scratch. I had a couple partners. One of my partners is the one that talked me into it, and he wasn't a good partner. And, I basically used all my money, and he was doing most of the work. But he told me all these different things that just wasn't true. So, afterwards, I realized that for haunted houses, I started talking to a lot of people at haunted houses to see what I did wrong, just because I was curious. And they're like, oh man, haunted houses never make money the first year. The first year is where you buy all your stuff, you set it up, and you're lucky if you break even, but most people lose money in the first year. You start making money on the second year and the third year and so on and so forth. And most people that have haunted houses have it in a place where they could kind of keep it as is. So the next year they don't have to do a ton more work. There's always a little bit more work. You change it some. But we set ours up. We bought, we rented out, it was a Macy's, a huge 30, 40,000 square foot space in a mall.
Wait, before you go through that, how did you get to haunted houses though?
So a friend of mine at the time that was like, man, haunted houses make a ton of money. You should do them.
Okay,
it's I got it. He talked me into it. I was talked into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit about haunted houses. And we went to a few people that had haunted houses and they were telling us their numbers and how well they did. But they've had those haunted houses for, a decade or longer. It wasn't the first year. And we never asked how you do in the beginning and all this other stuff. And then, we just didn't know. It was the first time that any of us did the business. So don't do a business that you don't know anything about and your partners don't know anything about, and they just, oh, this is a great business. Every business is a great business if you know how to do it right.
Yeah.
But every business, no matter how good of a business is, if you don't do it right, you're going to lose money. So there's not really a good or bad business. There's just the good and bad way to run it and, market it and, locations and all that stuff. So so that was a big hit. That was like a few $100,000 hit I took. That was probably the biggest hit that I took, to that date.
Yeah, and then what did you take away from that?
I took away to, first off, really important, to vet your partners a lot better. Like, don't just trust everyone. When you're young, you trust everybody.
Yeah.
And just do more due diligence and make sure that you always have the people that you're partners with have some sort of skin in the game. So like they kind of feel like if we lose, like they should lose a little bit. Especially if. So I'm a lot more careful, and I pick my partners better. Yeah. I have better contracts. I do more due diligence, and I try to have my partners have, a little bit of skin in the game, even if it's not money, but something that's close enough to money for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel that that's really important. That's a hard lesson that I had to learn too, is make sure you choose the people that you're working with very closely. And so thank you for sharing that. My last question is, someone that is interested is sitting right here and is like, Abraham, tell me what I need to do to get where you are. Just the first step.
Yeah.
Because I know there's many steps, but just the first step. What should they be doing?
I mean, the first step, the thing that took me to the next level, and when I talk to a lot of other people and help other people, this is what takes everybody to the next level, is hanging around the right people. Hanging around positive people. Hanging around people that are at a place where you want to get to next. It doesn't have to be the most, special experienced person, but someone that's doing better than you that could teach you some stuff. And obviously the higher level person you could hang around, the better, but just someone that's in a place where you want to get to at some point. And then once you get to that point, then you hang around people that are even higher, and then hang around people that are even higher. And that's really how I learned, and that's how I got better. And the reason why these people let me hang around them is because I always offered to help them. Like, this is what's really important. If you help people, they're going to want to help you back. So I know a lot of people always go around and ask, oh, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? That's kind of annoying. I know you mean well, but like now I got to think, okay, what can you do? I don't know what you're good at. I don't know what you can do. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I need, but like, I don't know what you're good at. So I never asked people, what can I do to help you? So what I always did is I figured out what that person needs, and I just did it, right? I figured out what's going to make that person feel better. I would just, figure it out and do it. And then people are like, oh, wow, this person just helped me do all this. They didn't ask for anything in return. They did it out of the goodness of their heart. And you keep doing stuff like that, people are going to want you to be around them. And then they're just going to help you like infinitely more. And that's how you progress.
And I think that's powerful, because I think what happens is why most people don't do that and go that direction is because they're afraid to get rejected, or they're afraid that their efforts it's not going to be seen. But you're just saying, just do it and see what happens.
Yeah, you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta have confidence, and you gotta have good self-esteem. And literally, I mean, think about it. If anyone's going to go out there and help you, anyone's going to go out there and compliment you, you're going to want them around you.
For sure.
Compliment people, genuinely, and help people genuinely, and they're gonna see that you're a good person, you mean well, and you're gonna end up getting rewarded for it.
Yeah. So is there any last words that you want to share with our viewers who may be watching right now?
No, what I would say is that I grew up in a broken family. Like, I didn't live with my parents. I grew up in a crazy life, and I got to where I'm at just because I wanted it, and I figured out the way. So like, nothing was really handed to me. So like, there's no excuse not to be able to do anything. Like, anyone could do it. That's it. Yeah,
there's no excuse.
No excuse.
For sure. Okay, so drop your handles again so that people can follow you and your website.
So
and your upcoming projects.
Yeah. So my YouTube is Abraham Gray, Gray, and gotta watch those videos. I have couple of videos every single week that come out new. And then, Instagram's Abraham Gray Official.
Okay.
And then Facebook's Abraham Gray. And, follow me. And I'm on TikTok, all that other stuff too. But yeah, just follow me, and you're gonna I post stuff every day, some cool, inspiring things. So, you'll feel good. You'll learn a lot.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. And thank you guys so much for watching. please share this with 5 of your friends, okay? They need to understand that hanging around the right people is going to take them to the next level, but not just the right people that are a little bit above where you're trying to, or above where you are, where you're trying to go to. Those are the individuals that you need to have in your circle in order to begin to start building your empire like this man has done. So, all right, it was a pleasure today. Thank you so much.